In this short video, we'll have a look at the tool we use for captioning, which is called Amara. Amara is an online tool, so as I mentioned, it does require that you have a network bandwidth and internet connection available to use the tool to do captioning. Using Amara, there are 3 basic steps to captioning. In the first step, you type what you hear and type what's on screen. In the second step, we add timings to what has been typed. And in the third step, we review the captions and the timings and make adjustments. This is probably the longest step. So in this first set of clips, we'll take a look at the first step of captioning, which is just typing what you hear. Some things you'll notice about the editor is that there are some keyboard controls, which are pointed out here on the left. So the tab key is used to play or pause the video. The shift and tab key allows you to skip back in the video, and the shift and enter key allows you to insert a line break while you're typing captions. On the right side of the screen, you'll notice that there are 3 steps mentioned. In this video, we'll take a look at doing step number 1, which is typing what you hear. This is the first step of creating captions, is just typing the words that you hear and the words that you see on the screen. So we'll start by just removing this first caption, which was placed here by the English Captions team. And then I'm going to hit the tab key to start the video. Now actually this video starts with words on the screen, so before I even start the video, I'll go ahead and type what I see on the screen. And then when I hit the enter key, it will take me to the next caption. So now I'm going to hit the tab key and that will start the video.
So what have you attained so far?
So I'm going to pause there and type what I've heard. So what have you attained so far? And I'll also point out that we indicate the speaker when someone speaks. Now if Muji continues speaking and the camera is on Muji, then we don't have to put Muji in front of every line that we type. But since it's the first time Muji's speaking, then we put Muji in square brackets, as I've done here, and then type what we hear. Now I'm going to hit the Shift Tab key to back up just a little bit, and I'm going to continue listening.
What have you attained so far by your own skill?
Now the questioner spoke, we heard her, so I'm going to put questioner, and she said nothing. And then Muji, because Muji is speaking after the questioner has spoken, we're going to put Muji again here. And I have to listen again to what he said.
You're afraid to lose nothing.
And he says, and you're afraid to lose nothing. And it's a question, and we'll continue. I'll hit enter to go to the next caption, and then the tab key to continue the video. I'll pause there. You saw that I typed laughter. So in the video, there's laughter first from the audience, and then from Muji, and then from the questioner. So we'll denote that with laughter, and we'll continue.
Let's get serious about it.
And Muji says, let's get serious about it. And we'll continue.
I'd never looked at it that way before.
And then the questioner says, I never looked at it that way before. Now, this is the second time the questioner spoke, and so instead of putting the whole word questioner, I put a Q with a full stop just as an abbreviation for questioner. And now we'll continue by hitting the tab key.
And it is so subtle that you are turning down the kingdom of eternity for a peanut.
So Buji says, and it's so subtle that you are turning down the kingdom of eternity for a peanut. I'm just going to listen once again because that was a long sentence to make sure I heard it correctly.
Turning down. And it is so subtle that you are turning down the kingdom of eternity for a peanut.
Now, since Muji spoke again after the questioner, once again I'm going to put Muji here. Now, you might notice that a couple of things. One, instead of abbreviating Muji, I'm putting Muji instead of putting M with a full stop as an abbreviation. And that's because we prefer to put Muji's full name. And when we get to the review step, there are some times when we'll abbreviate Muji if we are having trouble with balancing read rate, and character count, and that's something that we'll talk about later. You'll also notice that this is quite a long line, and in fact, once you're familiar with the guidelines, you'll know that this is too long for one caption. But in this first stage, when I'm just typing, I don't worry too much about character count or line length or the length of the caption or read rate because I'm just getting the words down. And I don't even worry too much about absolute accuracy because we'll have a review step at the end where we go through this many times and we'll be able to make adjustments. So the important thing in this step is just to listen to the video before I even start, and we haven't done it here, but I would listen to the video without creating any captions so that I can allow myself to be present and fully aware of the video before I even start to work on it. But in this step when we're typing, we just want to get the words down and we'll worry about arranging them correctly and even correct grammar and spelling and so forth at a later step. So now I'm going to hit the tab key again to continue and we'll keep going.
It might be a golden peanut, but something is like this. Until you look.
So you'll notice that I edited a little bit as I typed this because Muji said it might be a golden peanut, but something is like this, and I haven't repeated that it might be. So this is something that you'll get familiar with as you read the guidelines and do this work. And again, it's not so important that we get it right this first time through in this first step. We just want to get the words down. So I'm going to stop here for this video so that it isn't too long, but I think I've given you a sense of what we do in this first step of captioning, typing what we hear. Once we're done with that step, we would do sync timing, but not until we've captured all of the words in the video. Now we've completed the first step. I've seen that I have captions for the whole video, and so the next step is to start syncing. So when I'm ready for that step, I click this button, which says yes, start syncing. Now when I click that button, you'll notice that a timeline appeared. And if I go back to the beginning of the video, then we'll go to the beginning of the timeline. And the captions will be laid against this timeline. Now the way that I get the captions to sync time is to use the keyboard controls that are mentioned here on the left. So just as before, the tab key will pause or play the video, and the shift and tab key will skip back in the video. And the down arrow key will start a subtitle on the timeline, and the up arrow key will end the subtitle on the timeline. So you'll see that the first subtitle is queued up here, and you can see to the right of my screen beyond this shaded area is the next subtitle that will come. So when I press the tab key to start playing this video, then I press the down arrow key to make that first caption appear. The up arrow key will stop it.
So what have you attained so far by your own skill?
So I press the down arrow key again to make the second caption appear. And then I'm going to press tab.
Nothing.
So I press the down arrow key just then, and the up arrow
You're
key,
afraid to lose nothing.
the down arrow key for the next caption, and up to end it, the laughter, up to end it,
Let's get serious about it.
so down arrow key again to get that caption,
I'd never looked at it that way before.
and up arrow,
And it is so
down
subtle
arrow,
that you are turning down the kingdom of eternity for a peanut.
and down arrow again to get the laughter caption.
It might be
Down arrow again,
a golden peanut, but something is like this. Until you look
down
for
again,
yourself and you see, okay, what is being defended, what is being kept, what is it that I'm afraid to lose? And now you're looking and you're seeing.
so I just keep hitting the down arrow key as I hear the words, and it's okay if it's not perfect because we'll go back and adjust.
So even this holding on is not actually true. It's just appearing that there's something to hold on to, something to not let go of. Just an idea. Is it more than an idea? Is it actually something precious? Or is it just an idea?
So all I did there was when I would hear the words, I would use the down arrow key. I would press the down arrow key on my keyboard, and that would start the caption on the timeline. And you'll notice that it was not perfect, that I was delayed sometimes, that I may have done it too soon sometimes. But that's okay because now we've got the captions on the screen. We've got them on the timeline, and we're done with the sync timing step. So even though our sync timing is not perfect, we can handle it in the review step. The review step is where we will adjust sync timings and caption lengths and so forth. The second step is just to get the captions on the timeline. So once again, I'm going to save the draft just because I'm completed with step 2. And in the next video, we'll take a look at the third step, which is the most time-consuming step, is reviewing our work and making adjustments.